Hello there. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. And welcome to another amazing edition of iBrand Daybreak. It's a beautiful Monday in Lagos, Nigeria, the commercial hub of the nation. The weather is quite cool, not too hot, not too cold. I hope it doesn't get hot later. And also, it's the public holiday for the International Workers' Day. I'm sure you're having an amazing time with your family, your friends, and if you're at work, I'm sure you're having an amazing time at work. My name is Margaret Opera, and I have my amazing, super amazing, and professional colleague in the building, Michael Nat. I like the laugh.
Yeah, when you go professional.
You started, Michael.
We are professional. We are both professional.
Actually,
to be here.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, you went around saying good morning, good morning. I was counting the number of good mornings. You know, that shows definitely. Do you understand? Yeah. That, of course, reminded me of the fact that over the weekend you celebrated your birthday.
Yeah, I did.
How did it go, Margaret?
It was amazing. I spent time. A flashback on how it's been over the years and how God has been faithful. Of course, I had calls, prayers, wishes, gifts, and all of it. But I'm grateful. That's why I'm really excited. You know, it's an amazing time.
No action for us here in the studio.
Of course, there is going to be an action. Just hold on. You don't have to tell the.
I can't wait. Honestly, I can't wait. Well, today, as usual on the show, we've got a news update, newspaper review, Tweet Central. We also have a lot of interesting topics to discuss and expect you to be part of it. We got sports update with Jidechi and a host of others. You can't afford to miss a bit of this. And it's all yours as long as you stay with us here on the show today. We're kicking off with the news update. Now, the Nigerian government has banned entry of passengers from 3 different countries. Chairman PSC on COVID-19, Boss Mustafa, in statement announced that those who visited Brazil, India and Turkey will be denied entry to Nigeria. However, this does not apply to those who transited through these countries. This became necessary following the spike in COVID-19 cases in those countries. In India, authorities reported about 392,488 new cases, bringing the total to 19.56 million.
And I will go over to Yobe State. Now, the Yobe State Police Command has confirmed another attack on Kanama, headquarters of Yanusari Council. Kanama, a border community with Niger, is the first Boko Haram base established in 2002 before Gaidam's recent attacks by the insurgents. According to an eyewitness, the troops engaged terrorists to repel them as at the time he escaped for safety. Other Kanama residents taking refuge in Damaturu said the army tried as the insurgents were repelled in the early hours of yesterday.
Now, the abducted student of King's School, otherwise known as Kepro Secondary Mission School, located at Ghana Rup in Barakin Ladi local government area of Plateau State, has regained freedom. The gunmen had, in the early hours of April the 29th, kidnapped the students in Capra, which is few kilometers away from the Yakubu Gowon airport and about 60 kilometers from Jos, the state capital. However, 3 of the students escaped while 1 remained in captivity. But in a statement issued on Sunday, the spokesman of Operation Safe Haven, Major Ibrahim Shitu, said troops rescued the remaining student in captivity on Saturday.
And now on the foreign scene, the British Foreign Secretary Dominic Raab says the group of 7 richest countries will look at proposals to build a rapid response mechanism to counter Russian propaganda and misinformation. Speaking ahead of the G7 foreign ministers meeting in London, the first such in-person meeting for 2 years, Raab said Russia's actions were a threat and that cyber attacks were something that allies across the world would come together to counter.
The military council in charge of Chad has lifted the overnight curfew that was imposed following the death of President Idris Deby last month. There's been concern for the country's stability in recent weeks as a rebel group has tried to advance on the capital in Jamina. The authorities said Deby died from his wounds after being shot whilst on the front line of the conflict there. The military says it has killed hundreds of the rebels.
All right, now that's our news update of this hour. We'll take a short break now. When we come back, we'll look at top stories in our national daily. So stay with us.
It's still iBrand Daybreak Monday edition, and we are here to welcome you on a very, very bright note. We have coming up next headlines from some of today's Nigerian dailies, and here to help us analyze some of the emerging issues is a scriptwriter, a public affairs analyst, and the person of Laide Akano. Good morning, Laide, and welcome to the show.
Good morning, Michael. Good morning, Margaret.
Good morning, Laide.
It's my pleasure being here.
Yeah.
All right. We're raising the curtain with the punch. A iBrand office attack, burning 345 ballot boxes, threaten 2023 polls. INEC, minimum wage. Ngige consults AGF, threatens to sue governors. Brent price slides, petrol landing costs hits 199.9 naira per litre. Okay, now federal government vaccine fund runs into crisis. AstraZeneca scarcity hits India. With riders there, Nigeria may go for Pfizer, which costs $20 per dose. AstraZeneca, $4. WHO may review usage of expired COVID-19 vaccine for Nigeria. Others. And the last one, but not the least, from The Punch, we saved 45 northern youths from mob attack on the government.
All right, now we move over to the Nation paper. The screaming headline says APC PDP clash over worsening insecurity, with riders saying what Buhari is doing by ruling party. Policeman agency chief killed in Kogi, Ebonyi. We need US-UK rescue mission, says Governor Sule, and CAN seeks urgent action. And also Labour queries NERC parameters for tariff review, rate adjustment from July 1. DSS warns against threats to security. Nigeria better together, says Tinubu. And herders destroying our farm, Ogun Bishop allege. And Azman Air Park. Now to the top of the paper. Governor to reveal Owerri attack mastermind. And lady applicant raped, killed, buried in Uyo. Police exhumed body. Page 4 has the full details. And foreign portfolio investment drop in Q1. Nigeria ordered 3 to take more loans, says IMF.
Nigerian Tribune. Nigeria owes China $3.7 billion. This is coming from DMO. And top of the paper, relationship with First Bank professional, Honeywell Group. Whatever it is talking about can be found at page 7. And outrage over rape, murder of Akwa Ibom job seeker. Police intercept 13 guns, 753 GPMG ammunition in Ebonyi State. And gunmen raise Akwa Ibom INEC office. Why we sent back 42 northern youths. Well, we won't call off strike until 19 billion naira is released, ASUP tells federal government. Lastly, COVID-19 guidelines. Airline to pay $3,500 fine on each defaulting passenger.
I think you would move on to Daily Sun newspaper. And the top story says beef up security in Southwest. The only tells federal government, rather says government efforts not enough. And also Fidelity Bank targets Tier 1 status by 2025. And beneath paper says terrorism, Abuja not under siege, coming from the police. And by the side of the paper, you are childish, Father Mbaka replies presidency. Page 8 has the full story. Missing Akwa Ibom job seeker found dead. Rider saying raped mother buried in shadow grave, says police. COVID-19, federal government bars travelers from Brazil, India, Turkey, entering Nigeria. And Catholic Anglican Archbishop tax federal government on insecurity. Rider saying you must tackle problem now, demands Martins. Crippling poverty, social deprivation, fueling it, coming from Kaingama. Page 7 and 27 has the full story. And the top of paper lastly says Ohaneze woos ESN must sub orders on peace. Laide, thank you so much once more for joining us.
You're welcome.
As much as major stories here are based on insecurity, the the story that's been on the news since yesterday has been about the lady applicant who was raped, killed, buried in Uyo, buried in the shallow, and the police are saying they have exhumed the body, and it's really a sad ordeal. So,
well, it's unfortunate the kind of young men we have in this country today, because I don't know what could make a young man. I read the story online. The lady tweeted that she was a graduate, she needed a job, and this guy now set a trap for her, that there was a job somewhere. She actually invited her for interview, but this was a girl who knew that wherever you are going as an individual, you should inform somebody. So she did tell her friend, and the friend kept tab on her up till the last minute when the lady sent an SOS, as in save her soul message to the friend. So if she was somebody who just went anywhere without telling anybody, she would have died in vain. Nobody would have known. So they would have just said she's missing. People will be looking for her, not knowing that she's dead. Why? The problem now is the parenting we have in this country. I don't know what could make anybody think that if, for instance, you want to meet a woman, the first thing that should be on your mind is to have a carnal knowledge when she is not your girlfriend and she's not by her consent. Why force her? What's special about? It's like every woman is like the other, only that they have different faces. So that young man, and if you see, I see his photo online, he looks so innocent.
Less than 24 years old.
Looks so innocent. You couldn't have imagined something like that from a boy like that. So it's unfortunate that this now calls for reorientation, and even our sense of value in this country. I think we have lost it, but we have to work very, very hard to regain it.
Well, appearance definitely could be deceptive. You were talking about the looks of the young man in question. What concerns me most here is the fact that I got it from some reports that this guy is linked to some people in government, some people occupying high position in government. And the fear is that I hope this matter wouldn't be swept under the carpet, as some of our cases, have gone in this country.
I don't think that will happen in this case, because already it's in the public glare. So that one can't happen. If anybody should attempt to sweep it under the carpet, no matter the status of that person, the person will be brought down with the case. Because that's called blood murder. Yeah. How could you have just somebody you never met? I mean, it's like, how could you? That's part of the parenting I'm talking about. Majority of our young men today, they just see women as an object, and a sex object. Somebody tweeted she wanted a job, and all the young man could think was to trick her into, taking advantage of her. And when the girl was not the type that she thought she would be, she forced her. So in the course of, this struggling, he slammed something on her head, and that's how the girl fainted, from what I read. So what could have, how many could have that boy done? God knows how many women he would have taken advantage of, not especially from the background report you just gave, now that is connected to some people in high places. Maybe he felt he could do anything and get away with it.
Well, we hope justice will run its full course in this matter.
Definitely shall be done. A lot of people will be on top of that.
Why justice runs its full course? I would appeal, or we would appeal to every woman, every man, woman, anybody. Be safe, irrespective of where your gender, where you're going to. Stay safe, because the rate of insecurity in the country is alarming, and you're important, very important. So thank you so much, Lydie, for joining us on the paper review this morning. All right, now we'll take a short break now. After the break, we'll come back for the topic for the day. We have an amazing guest in the studio. You will meet him after this short break. Stay with us. True unripe plantain flour is 100% natural flour gotten from the processing of unripe plantain. It contains no addictive and has a net content of 500 grams. True unripe plantain flour contains vitamin A, B6 and C. It is gluten-free and rich in calcium. Consuming through unripe plantain flour helps to build and strengthen stronger bones and can be a great meal for diabetic patients. It decreases your chances of constipation as it has a high fiber content and provides you with a low-fat diet. Here are some steps to prepare your through unripe plantain flour. Firstly, mix through unripe plantain flour with hot water in a pot and gradually add water till you achieve desired thickness. Place over medium heat and turn very well for 4 to 5 minutes to get the right texture. Mold into a ball and place in a bowl and allow to cool. Serve with your choice of soup. Through unripe plantain flour can be eaten with any variety of soup, be it your ofe oha, ofe onugbu, begiri, ewedu, or your miyan kuka. To get your through unripe plantain flour, contact us at 12 Olowera Isheri Road by First Welder bus stop off Omole Phase 2, Olowera, Lagos, Nigeria, or call 070-6663-8213 or 081-6397-4447. Distributors.
It's still iBrand Daybreak on a Monday, the very first day of the new week. And now to bring you the first topic, in fact the only topic for the day, we're going to kick off by reminding you to send your comments and reactions or responses to our social media handles. Don't forget that one. Now, Labor Day is an annual holiday to celebrate the achievements of workers. Labor Day has its origin in the labor union movement, specifically the 8-hour day movement, which advocated 8 hours for work, 8 hours for recreation, and 8 hours for rest. For most countries, Labor Day is synonymous with or linked to International Workers' Day, which occurs on May the 1st. For other countries, Labor Day is celebrated on a different date, often one with special significance for the labor movement in that country. On that note, today on the show, we'll be discussing the plight and welfare of Nigerian workers. And here in the studios to help us look deeply and critically into this very subject, we have Chairman Ratawu Lagos State Council in the person of Comrade Dare Durusimi. Dare, you're welcome to the show this morning.
Thank you for having me.
Good morning.
Good morning.
How do you do?
I'm fine, and happy Workers' Day.
Thank you. Yeah.
Well, you guys don't go on
It's already in your cap.
On your cap, it's a real solidarity issue. It's beautiful.
In Lagos, we celebrated the Workers' Day in a grand style, where we had the governor come around, and for the first time, last year he couldn't come around because of the pandemic.
Yeah.
So this year we had it very big, and he came around, and it promised workers a lot of things.
Really?
And we were really happy, I must say.
I hope it's not going to end like the previous promises we've been having without any fulfillment.
We keep pushing and keep we close mark him and make sure we get it.
And make sure it's done.
That's it. That's it.
Now, Dare, why has the welfare of workers in Nigeria not been taken seriously by succeeding governments in the country?
I must say the issue is about trust. We have workers have always been pushing for better welfare. That is what we are meant to do as leaders. We usually negotiate, and we realize after negotiation, even when we're on strike, we enter into negotiation, we sign an agreement with the government, and they say go and call off. We call off the strike. What you see is the government don't respect the agreement. So that is why you see today we have several unions going on strike and saying they will not call off until they do that thing that they're asking for. So the welfare has been an issue. And we have issue of inflation, we have issue of economy, we have workers that is actually creating the wealth, not being taken care of. And if you are having more money sharing that in Abuja, for example, every month, you don't have workers get more. But when they don't have money to share, the workers will have to go. They will sack workers, they will reduce your salary. A lot is happening. So it's all about leadership. It's all about the trust that we have lost in the leadership and that has not even lived up to their expectation.
All right. You mentioned inflation. Now, with inflation increased by 18% in March, as of March, inflation increased by 18%. Now, how realistic is the 30,000 naira take home for workers?
Yeah, the fact is that even when we started negotiating, we actually pushed like 100,000, 90,000, like a living wage. But what we had was 30,000 so that we can be reasonable, that they don't have enough. But even at that, the 30,000 as we speak today, it doesn't worth 30,000. You know, when you drop money at home, you know, they tell you the cost of pepper in the market. The real inflation is when you go to the market and see it. You know the price of what you used to buy before. The worth of that 30,000 is now up to 12,000 naira as we speak. In like 6 years back, you can spend that reasonably. How do you use 30,000 naira, for example, to take care of family of four? How much is your rent? The cost of living, the cost of transportation, so many things attached to it. And we are still having some states not paying that 30,000 naira. We are still having states saying they cannot pay. It is not too good. It's a law. It has become law in Nigeria. And whichever state that is not paying that money is violating the rule of the law. So they must be accountable. They must also, we can, like it was discussed that the Federal Ministry of Labor should sue those states that are not implementing that 30,000 naira minimum wage, because it's already a law.
It goes without saying that you can only give what you have. In other words, you can't give what you do not have.
But in the real sense,
most state governors, they do not have. Even if they start, they cannot maintain it.
I won't go that route. You know why? Because we know the costs of running governors, running government in this nation. You see a governor with so many SA, SSA, all of them having fleet of cars when they go around. Is that how to run the government? Is that how to run the nation? See, we have people that are actually creating this wealth. We have teachers, and we reduce the number of teachers in school. What will happen in the near future? What happened to our children? They have money to send their own children abroad. They will reduce those workers that are supposed to be creating the wealth, creating the future for the nation, and they'll be increasing their own. Why can't you come to the round table, bring what you have, then we'll negotiate. But when they are not bringing what they have, they want to just, when they don't have enough, it's the workers. So it's not about what they have or the availability. Or when we are doing this negotiation about minimum wage, they were part of it. It was the process. The governors forum were that. They were part of it. They all agreed to 30,000 naira. Why? We looked at what they are earning averagely before they could agree to that. But now they are saying they cannot pay. So something is wrong somewhere. You can't say that you can't pay and you kept your own aides, all of them. We have the wives, you have all the aides, all of them. We have, you know, those things are affecting the workers. So if we can call the cost of governance in Nigeria, then we look at the workers with smile, because they are actually providing the wealth. They're creating the wealth that will actually turn the economy of this nation to a better one, so that all of us can enjoy. But instead of doing that, what we do is we are so much interested in our own pocket.
Now, you've been sounding as if once the 30,000 naira is paid, all the problems are solved for the worker, especially when you consider the rate of inflation in the country today. Like my colleague had already asked, how do you think that 30,000 naira is all the today's Nigerian worker needs to solve all the problems there are there?
No. The 30,000 naira as we speak today.
So besides the money, what else?
The 30,000 naira as we speak today is not even enough to take any workers home. Let's talk about transportation.
Okay.
It's not enough. Okay. It's like we agreed to that because we want to be reasonable.
You know, we've been talking about welfare.
Yes, generally.
That we don't just have to pick out minimum wages.
I get you.
There are so many others.
There are so many others.
Can we hear them?
We have other allowances that you are entitled to.
Okay.
It all depends on how you can negotiate that. We have issue of transport allowance. We have issue of, in my own sector, we have what we call weighing allowance. Because you work in this environment, for example, there's radiation, there's so many other things. You have specific allowance that you are entitled to. So all of that are what we still negotiate. But why the minimum wage is very important is because that is the basics of every other thing.
Okay.
Because the percentage of whatever every other welfare thing that you get, if you are giving the 2% for a weighing allowance, it will go to that particular 30,000 naira. If you are earning 15,000 naira, it will be a percentage of that 15,000 naira that will be a particular allowance for you. It will be a particular allowance for transport, for example, if it's 15% of your base. Because what we have now is that basic that will now determine which other one that will be accumulated to your salary to be a take-home pay. Okay. That is why it's very important.
Right now, on the 11th of March 2021, the Nigerian Labour Congress held a protest, if I'm correct, about corruption and in the implementation of this minimum wage. Now, my point is, I want us to discuss these corrupt practices. What are the corrupt practices we're talking about now?
I think I've mentioned some of them. You know, if we are as workers and we can decide, we can actually find out how much the state is making, because we have our members all around, to what they declare and to what they spend on workers. And that is why we are pushing the issue of corruption with the minimum wage. We did that because some people were trying to push that issue of minimum wage from the exclusive list.
Exactly.
That's why we did that protest. Yes. That's why we did that protest, because some are trying to push it like we cannot pay. But we have made it a law that you must pay, that they should allow state to determine. That means each state can just bring their labor leader into their pockets. Since he's a worker of that state, for example, they can intimidate him and say, I agree to 15,000 or 10,000. You know, what we do is this: we are stronger when we are together as union. So we can leave Lagos, for example, to go and agitate for better welfare in Kano. That is what we're doing. That is why we have a state of, in Kwara, for example, they are still yet to implement 30,000 naira. Some states are still yet to implement. That's why the rally is going, the protest is coming out. And at that time that we did it. So we're telling them that nobody should violate that law. And we are attaching corruption to it because they have some funds somewhere that they're spending on something or some other things. That is the idea behind that protest. So the corruption is everywhere.
Okay, you mentioned exclusive.
Okay, I was going to ask. Now we're talking about corruption.
Yes,
it's in all facets, of Nigeria's life. Take it or leave it. Now we're talking about corruption, and that reminds me of reports we've gathered over the years, of labor leaders not being sincere. Once they go there, they have their pockets filled, lined up, and when they come out, they begin to sound differently from what was agreed on, by the members. How true is that?
I hear this all the time. I hear this. People talk about it. I was on a program yesterday and they had the same question. And I told them that we have a structure. There's a way you can go into negotiation. If I'm to represent my union in negotiation, right there I can't even agree to anything that the government is bringing on board. I will just tell them, okay, you have said this. Let me go back. We have a neck where we call our members. We all decide. This is what the government is saying. Do we call off the strike or not? So telling me that I'm selling out when we all took the decision is not an option, because for me, I must carry you along. So if everybody's carrying along, well, in every 12 there must be Judas. Let me say it. There must be some people doing something. If people don't see, they won't talk. So for me, it is not what we say sometimes that is the truth, because labor leaders pass through a lot. Sometimes we don't sleep in our houses. I'm telling you, when you negotiate, sometimes we are attacked. Seriously, sometimes you are afraid of your life.
You're ruling out any political, motive in your...
It's everywhere. It's allowed.
Okay.
People can lobby. They can come to you. It's allowed.
Yeah.
They can come to you to say, okay, why not take this so that we can do this to your members? But not for personal gains. That's what I'm saying. I'm reading that out because for me, I don't believe it's happening. But if you have anybody, there may be some people doing it. But for me, I don't believe it's happening. But what we have for us is to deliver a better welfare for our members, which we are always pursuing.
Okay. Now, the president on May 1, assured Nigerians that the government has been doing what it can, whatever possible to improve the welfare of the Nigerian worker. Would you agree?
I don't agree to that, because no matter whatever policy they are bringing on board, if we are not seeing it on the streets of Lagos, on the streets of Kaduna, in the whole Nigeria, we don't know it. If it's not, that means it's not working. Whatever they're doing, because we don't see it. We are talking about 30,000. They make pronouncement from Abuja. States are not implementing. How does it go down? Down the ladder, a lot of people are suffering. So if you say you're doing the best and people are still not, we don't have power, a lot of people on their own want to run businesses and they are still finding it very difficult. They have to provide the enabling environment for people to work. We have a lot of people losing their jobs because of the same reasons. People want to actually, we are industrious people now, we want to work on our own, we don't need to work for government. So people can't do that. So I'm saying you have done your best, I think is not enough. Whatever they have done, we can't see it on the street. We can't see it down the ladder. People are suffering. Workers are suffering. That's the fact. As of today, workers in Nigeria are afraid. They are not secured. Insecurity in the nation is serious. Very serious. Some people can't even continue their business. Some people are running transportation. They have to travel. Gone are the days when you leave Lagos in the night. You wake up in Abuja in the morning. Go by road. We want to try that now. If that insecurity is not solved, a lot of things will not work.
Okay. So about that, the Nigerian Labour Congress chairman blamed Kaduna insecurity on the sack of workers. And also he added that as of 2016 till date, over 29,000 workers has lost their job. And the most captivating part was when he said they were not even paid. Now, what are the steps? Because this has been a recurring experience. So for him to have mentioned that 29,000 without pay from 2016 till date. So what are steps you think can be taken to curtail all of this?
Let me bring you up to date as per that issue.
Okay.
As a president, they are planning to sack more than 1,000 people.
Added to the 29,000.
Added to that. The 29,000 were teachers.
Yeah.
If you remember when they were doing this, can you sack them? You promise you're going to pay their take home pay when they are leaving. So you didn't pay them. Now you are giving reason why you want to sack over 1,000 people. That you don't have enough money to pay 30,000 naira. You have to reduce. You say anybody that is 50 should go home. If you are level 14 and above, either you are 50 or not, go home. If you are level 1 to 6, they turn you to casual workers. A lot of things. And he also sometimes talk in a way that is bringing insecurity to the state. And that is why if the statement of the president is right, as at the time he said whatever he said, and now we can see the attack on that state in particular. So we must be careful when we talk as leaders. We must be careful when we utter any statement. It's very important because as a governor, whatever we say, we affect business, we affect security, we affect every other thing in the state. So we must be very careful. I'm saying that state, we are planning to even have a protest about that. If possible, there is going to be a strike about that particular state because members of the workers are not safe. How do we now create economy? From what you have done, you're sacking people. You think security will improve. What do you think those people will do?
Okay, we have some live chats from our social media. Please keep the comments rolling. We have the chairman of Comrade Dawe Durosimi. He's in the studio. He would answer your questions. And someone is saying, okay, Nigerian workers are going through a lot. Tiny Bliss says that. And she says, Patrick Georgia says, unless there's true democracy in the country, there can't be adequate appreciation for everyday worker. This will make the government make laws that will suit all business enterprise. And also someone else is saying, can you imagine 30k Nigeria needs to reinstall and install back? So about what Patrick said, he said unless there's true democracy in the country, there can't be adequate appreciation for the everyday worker. Would you agree with the statement?
There is a fact, what do we call democracy? What people actually is government of the people for the people.
Yes. What
people are yearning for is what the government should do. You are representing us, and we're yearning for something, we're asking for something, and we're not doing it. So it's a democracy. When somebody wakes up one day, want to sack over 1,000 workers, is that democracy? Even if you have to do something, there is what we call negotiation. You call the round table. This is what we have. This is the situation. Then the union can also suggest solution. This is where we can go around it. When we have a roundtable talk, like, okay, the facts that you're bringing on the table, and we confirm them that they are true. But you don't just wake up one day and say you want to sack them. No, the rules doesn't allow that. Okay. When I'm being employed, have what you give to me as my schedule of work, the agreement that we have that I'm going to work for you, and the rules are all stated. So if I'm going to sack you, you must also have done something. In violation of that rules that we have agreed to. We must call a round table, okay, you have done this with this situation. You can't just declare redundancy because I'm not the one that doesn't say that I want to go, I can't work any longer. maybe my hands are cut or something. You can't declare me. You don't.
Okay, I want to bring you to the Nigerian Labour Act.
Yes.
You're not a lawyer, so, but I think you should have a background knowledge on. Part of the Nigerian Labour Act, it's just what you had mentioned, that it's unlawful to just lay off a worker without prior notice. So you don't think that the Nigerian Labour Act it's not been amended? I don't think it's been amended since it was put in place. So do you think there's the need for the people involved to look into the Labour Act and amend all that needs to be amended, and also put in place what needs to be put in place? Even
the one we have now does not even allow you to wake up and sack your workers. There's nothing to say we have to. Every law needs to be improved all the time. But what we still have does not allow you to wake up in one day and say you are sacking workers.
Correct.
Without reasons, genuine reasons. For example, that's why we have industrial courts. If you go to industrial courts, you have so many cases of workers winning over their employer, because you can't just wake up and sack me. We have, it's a law thing. There must be an offer, there must be an acceptance. Then we all agree something, and we now go into that execution of whatever we have agreed, and you're violating your own part of the bargain. No, you don't just wake up and say this. No, that's why we have labor law, we have leadership. Then you can call them, so that there won't be the situation we have in Kano as of today.
Now, before we let you go, we've had frequent strikes by labor, and you've mentioned the time without number here, a round table and all that. These things have been happening without the desired solution. What other ways do you think this goal can be achieved? Having the federal government, listen to the workers and take care of their needs.
That's always the only way is see the round table. We don't just.
But it's not been achieving any results.
We don't just go on strike. Let me correct that. What we do is we negotiate, and we always negotiate. Even when we're going on strike, we give this ultimatum. Why? We're giving room for negotiation. But what we see is this: after we enter into that negotiation with an agreement with the government, what they do is they fail to implement their own part of the agreement. Why? You see, Jusun, Pasan, as all of them going on strike, not because of a recent happening. It was what has been done before. You've approved financial independence or this, financial autonomy. So why are we not implementing it? They waited. So what do you want them to do? We keep negotiating. They have to go on strike, because that's the only language I think this government understand. That people can also say, okay, yes, there is sympathy for these people, they have done enough. Because if you have not done enough, waiting, negotiating, you won't be able to go on strike. So for us, we have tried several things and it's not working. So I think that strike is the only thing that can make more noise and call attention of the government. When we go on strike, you just notice it. They will end up waiting first day, second day, third day, like, okay, let's call them. They now call. You can imagine. But if you don't go on strike, they will not
everything
attend to
remains
you.
the same way.
That's
Thank you so very much, Comrade Durusimi. By the way, he is the chairman, Ratau Lagos State Council. Thank you so very much for being here.
Thank you for having me.
And we hope that the welfare of Nigerian workers eventually will be looked into and taken care of.
Right.
We hope so.
So thank you so much. It was an amazing time talking with you.
Thank you for having me. I'm really, really happy to be here. And happy Workers' Day again today.
We wish you
when you're on this.
Thank you. We are all workers here.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're still watching iBrand Daybreak Monday. We'll take a breather now. When we come back, we have Jidechi with Sports Update.
Oh boy, winning you was so easy.
I just couldn't stand those your powerful shots. That's what happened.
Really? Let's go to my place for dinner.
This fufu is so nice.
It's true unripe plantain flour.
True unripe plantain flour is delicious.
Yes, True unripe plantain flour is what I serve my husband for swallows. It's easy to prepare, fortified with vitamin A, low in sugar and cholesterol, rich in fiber that helps the heart, builds and strengthens the bone, and his energy level is boosted.
Through unripe plantain flour, no additives, 100% natural, a product of Pali Agro Products Nigeria. Through unripe plantain flour, available in all edit.
You're welcome back. This is iBrand Daybreak, a new week, and I would also start by saying happy Workers' Day to you. Yeah, some of us actually have to be on the job. It's part of the perks of the job, isn't it? Let's talk about the stories that went down this weekend. Lots and lots of games went down this weekend, but why not we talk about the one that did not go down? Yeah, talk about Manchester United and Liverpool. That game did not go down over the weekend, and that's because the fans of Manchester United decided it was a good time to take to the field and protest against the management, the ownership of the club. That's the Glazier family. Yes, they took to the pitch of Old Trafford and saying they don't want the Glaziers to be in charge of the club any longer. And we saw how that panned out on Sunday. Yes, it led to the cancellation, actually the postponement of the game between Manchester United and Liverpool. But I think that's an issue for the fans of Manchester United and of course the owners of that club. Well, many people have asked the question, should the fans be the one to decide who should be in charge of the club, considering most of these owners of big club sides in Europe get their ownership of the club sites by purchasing rights to own that club site. Well, like I said earlier, I think this is an issue we would just have to be on the sidelines and observe and leave it for the ownership of Manchester United and the fans of Manchester United to sort out. Well, why the fans of Manchester United took to the pitches to disrupt their team's game against Liverpool from happening, some other fans actually took to the streets of a city to rejoice, and that's the scene. The fans of Inter Milan actually. Yes, why Manchester United, like I said, we are protesting. We are rejoicing. Yeah, the first Scudetto for them in 11 years. The last time Inter Milan won the Italian Serie A, that one happened in 2010. And after yesterday's victory, they took to the streets of Milan to celebrate the fact that they've been able to break the Juventus dominance in the Italian league. Juventus have been able to win for the past 9 seasons in a row. Yes, Juventus winning back-to-back 9 times. And Inter Milan decided that we've had enough of this. It's time to break it. And they were able to get that one yesterday. Kudos to them. Good one for Inter Milan. And also the fact that we have Nigeria's Victor Moses on the ranks of Inter Milan. Congratulations, I would say, are in order to the man. Now let's move over from men's football and talk about women's football. Yes, also went down this weekend, and we had the finals of the UEFA Women's Champions League. I'm used to saying Super League so much these days, but let's talk about that Women's Champions League. That the finals, as we talk about right now, it's set, and I can tell you 2 teams are now left in that one. Yeah, talk about Chelsea women, talk about Barcelona Femini, the 2 final teams that are in the finals of the Women's League. And for us who are Nigerians, we have our eyes on that one because Nigeria's very own Asisat Oshuala is in the finals of the Women's Champions League. It will be the second time in 3 years that she would be entering that finals with Barcelona. Last season they came so close, they got knocked out in the semi-finals of the competition, but this time around they are back again, possibly favorites to do this one. But let's see how it pans out when Chelsea and Barcelona Femini will be taken to the fields of play on May the 19th. Now let's move out away from football and talk about Formula 1. Yeah, one man just cannot stop winning. Call him Lewis Hamilton. Yes, Sir Lewis Hamilton. I think it's high time we have to accept that this is just the greatest driver ever in the world of Formula 1. Yes, his 97th victory right there at the Portuguese Grand Prix. A very splendid one from the British Knights. Well, yeah, you know he's a knighted man. Yes, Sir Lewis Hamilton. Good one for him and good one for Mercedes, who he drives for. That's all on sports from this weekend. Margaret, back to you.
Thank you so much, Jidechi. It's an amazing one to always have to discuss sports with you. And Formula One is amazing. That's a sport I've really not taken so much interest in. But I think from today I should really take interest in it. What do you think?
Well, it's an interesting thing. I would not say you've been doing a bad thing. It's normal for everyone to have their peculiarity, their favorite sports. And we as Nigerians, there's always that tendency of getting to love football more than every other thing. But Formula One, yeah, it's something you should definitely take cognizance of, especially if you love cars.
All right, thank you. I actually do love fast cars. Thank you so much, Dichi. Now we'll delve right into the Tweet Central segment. And if you're just tuning in, you've missed a large part of the show, sadly. But not to worry, later in the day, we'll have a repeat belt. And also tomorrow at 9 on the dot, please do well to join us so you do not have to miss any part of it again. Now, Twitter has a lot in store for us. And sadly, the story on Twitter is about a girl from Akwa Ibom State who got raped and then murdered by a man who offered her a job. Now, this lady, like 6 days ago, tweeted and said she needed a job. And, you know, Twitter, people get jobs from Twitter, and she pleaded people on Twitter to help her find a job, and she was tired of being at home. She wants to be able to add value to her family, to, you know, take care of herself. And, of course, someone offered her a job, but what she got in return was being raped and dirt. And now reaction from Nigerians are saying, I'll just read some of the reactions from Nigeria. At Mr. Odan's replied, say, the person that murdered Heine is on the same Twitter with you and I. He probably joined us during the NSAS protest. Joined in speaking against injustice in this country. He casually offered someone a job on her timeline and murdered her in cold blood. Adeswai Tommy Wellington, Banky W's wife, tweeted, says, when the Bible wrote, the heart of man is desperately wicked, the desperately was put there for a reason. Well, sadly, at Ekpe Kingsley tweeted, if the suspect wasn't caught, he would have still been on this app interacting with people, like he didn't just kill somebody. Do you know how scary that is? Well, really scary. Hawa said women are unsafe in Nigeria, period. And Badman Soft said her friend fought hard for her. Her friend really, really fought hard for her. At Dr. Pen King said, Udrak Franakpan, the rapist and murderer, is a cousin to a local government councillor, and there are attempts to obstruct justice. People, we are looking at a gate for ritual killing and body parts selling. The least we can do is make the whole world aware. At Mr. Get Anything said, there's a kidnapping ring will lure people with jobs inside Ajao Estate. Oh, wow. Airport Road, Lagos. Wow. I know this because I picked the lady during my Uber days who escaped from their grip. At Ife_Akin tweeted, if this guy wasn't caught, he would still be there throwing banter. LMAO all over the timeline, dropping hot takes. Do you know how scary this is? Oh, well, lots of reaction, but the last one says, I just remembered how someone sent me a DM that he wants to order a cake for a lady anonymously. He told me to ask for her address, which she sent. The next thing, Baba asked me to send the address to him. I told him I can't do that. The guy blocked me. Please, let's be vigilant. Michael.
It's quite a sad one there, there's no doubt. And it's also a pointer to one of the evils, you know, that go with unemployment. Yeah. You know, the government really has to do something, you know, to create job. We have all it takes to create job for the teeming youths of this nation. And another thing there is that we are really happy that the murderer, the perpetrator of this crime, the suspect has been caught, and we hope that justice will be allowed to run its full course and he be brought to book. That will serve as a deterrent to others who may be, you know, thinking about taking such route.
Yeah, and on all over social media for the past weeks, the rate of killings and rape, molestation, murders for young ladies have been alarming. And I just want to say, please stay safe. You're going on, what you should do is, if you have a ride, share your ride location, whether the app or just tell someone, like someone said, "I they come, no be anywhere." That's in pidgin. Like, I am coming, it's not the name of a place. Where are you going to? I am going here. I am coming, it's not a name of a place. And if you have to meet anybody, social media is amazing, yes, but there are people who are not as amazing as you think they are. So if you must meet anyone you do not know, try to meet them in public places. Do not share your address except it's in a public place. On this note, we'd like to wrap up the show. I know it's a sad story, but come on, raise up, brighten up. It's an amazing week, and you don't want to start your week on the sad note. Nigeria will be better. We are hopeful for that, Michael.
Definitely, we are optimistic.
Optimistic. Yeah, I'll leave you with this quote. It says, an unexamined life is a life not worth living. It's a quote from Socrates. So examine your life all the time and make sure your life is worth living. My name is Margaret Opara.
And I'm Michael Nath. Thanks very much for being part of it all.
Bye for now.
iBrand TV. Business first.